Hey guys, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today I'm on a remote location as I decided I'm going to do a showing of my Sandy Koufax collection. I'm not a team card collector, or excuse me, you guys know I'm a team card collector. I'm not really a player card collector, but since I do own all the Dodger cards, I do own all the Topps cards during the vintage era. So I'm going to take you over to my collection in a moment. I just wanted to show off first the autographed photo that I received from Sandy in the late 90s, signed at the National in Anaheim. And I know I've already spoken to you guys in a couple of other videos about this, about a wonderful, genuine human being he was that day. This man left with a big time smile meeting Sandy. So let's go over to the card table and we'll take a look at what I have. Okay, I left you with some photos, some up close photos, hopefully, of the Koufax autograph. It's just there's such a glare where that photo is. All right, so here is my Dodger team, or my Sandy Koufax collection, and I'm going to go in reverse order, starting with the 1975 MVP subset featuring Sandy and Elston Howard in the 1963. They were the 1963 MVPs. So that's the first Koufax card I ever owned. So I'm counting that as a Koufax card. All right, moving along. The 1967 Topps National League pitching leaders. Sandy had retired by this point, but he still appeared in 3 cards in the 1967 set. This one being the National League pitching leaders. I love this card. Look at that. Four Hall of Famers. Sandy Koufax, Juan Marichal, Bob Gibson, Gaylord Perry. That's a super nice card. All right, moving on over. We have the 1966 ERA leaders. Sandy, Mike Cuellar. Later went on the big fame with the Orioles, and Juan Marichal. And then the NL strikeout leaders, Sandy, Jim Bunning, and Bob Veal of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I like these league leader cards just because they have either Hall of Famers or pitchers that were like pretty dominant for a couple of years. All right, moving on to the 1966 Topps. We got his strikeout leaders, again with Bob Veal and with Hall of Famer Bob Gibson. And the pitching leaders, National League pitching leaders, Sandy. I'm going to botch this guy's name, Tony Cloninger, and Don Drysdale. NL strikeout leaders. And then we got still the 1965 ERA leaders, Koufax, Marichal, Vern Law of the Pirates. Then we go up to Sandy's regular his final issue of 1966 Topps. That's a great card. I bought that one raw. That was the one, I've only submitted once to PSA, and this Koufax was included in that. It came back a 4. Then one of my favorite cards from 1965, Sandy, Don Drysdale, 1964 ERA leaders. And then we've got the 1965 Topps, his regular issue, which is the same card that was used as the 1964 Topps Giants card. That's probably the second Koufax I owned. I bought that card at Dodger Stadium. I don't know if you guys had this at the stadiums you guys went to when you were kids, but in the 70s and up to the early 80s, Dodger Stadium was still selling 1964 Topps Giants cards. So this is how I got my Koufax. All right, moving on. Another one of my favorite Koufax cards. I've had this one since I was a kid. From 1964, featuring the 1963 World Series, Sandy Koufax strikes out 15. Moving on. Sandy's got a lot of league leader cards at this point. 1963 NL strikeout leaders, Jim Maloney, Don Drysdale joining Koufax there. Pitching leaders, Sandy, Marichal, Spawn, Jim Maloney. I looked Jim Maloney up. He had a good career. I think injuries, though, messed him up in the late 60s. But he was one of the top pitchers in the 60s as well. And we have ERA leaders along with Dick Ellsworth, Bob Friend, 1963 National League ERA leaders. And then there's Sandy's regular 1964 issue. His 1963 Fleer card. I got that one for $30. I got pretty lucky on that one. And then another one of my favorites. You're gonna notice I say this a lot. Dodgers Big Three from the 1963 Topps. Johnny Padres, Don Drysdale, and Sandy. All right, let's move on over. Now we're still in the 1963 Topps, but we're looking at the 1962 NLERA leaders. I see Bob Shaw, Bob Purry, Sandy, Don Drysdale, Bob Gibson. Strikeout leaders, Drysdale, Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Rich Farrell, Billy O'Neill of the Giants. I almost said my favorite card. 1963 Topps, Sandy won the Cy Young Award and the MVP that year. That is a great card. I won that card. I remember bidding $99 on eBay. That was the opening bid. Nobody ever bid again. So I won that card on one bid. I'm sure the seller was pleased. All right, moving over to 1962, we got the strikeout leaders. There's Sandy, his teammate Stan Williams, and Don Drysdale, along with Jim O'Toole of the Reds. And those are the strikeout leaders. All right, now is 1962 card. That one I owned raw. That was in my submission to PSA several years ago. From 1961, his Dodgers Southpaw cards, along with Johnny Padres. And then I've got the 1960 strikeout leaders, Big D, Don Drysdale, Sandy Koufax, with a couple of other guys there. I know that Craig Broglio was traded to the, Ernie Broglio was traded over from the Cardinals to the Cubs for Lou Brock. And then Jones with the Giants, I don't know anything about him. From 1961, his 1961 Topps and his 1960 Topps card. 1959, now we're just getting into his regular cards at this point, along with 1958, the first year the Dodgers played in Los Angeles. Now we're going to show you his Brooklyn cards. He has two from I have two from 1967, both the same card. One is a PSA 5, the other being a PSA 6. My brother gave me this 1956 Topps card for Christmas a long time ago. I love that card. And then I picked up this card about 2 years ago, the Golden Stamps card. I have the Dodger team set on that. I bought those from some guy on Facebook. It had everybody but Koufax. So I bought him separately on eBay. And last but not least, his rookie card from 1955, which is my first ever dream card. And love this card. I don't think I'll ever upgrade it just because of what this card means to me. So, all right, guys, that's everything. That's my Dodger. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. That's my Sandy Koufax collection. Hope you guys have a great week. Take care.